Welcome to District Command Central, your go-to source for the latest news and updates on the Washington Commanders. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a play. Tension is simmering in Washington as the Commanders and their star wide receiver Terry McLaurin enter a critical phase of contract negotiations just before training camp kicks off. According to recent reports circulating on NFL Rumors via X, McLaurin, who is entering the final year of his current deal, is seeking a significant payday, potentially a new 3-year contract worth around $30 million annually. This demand underlines his desire to be recognized as one of the elite wide receivers in the league. However, the Commanders seem reluctant to meet these figures, leading to a standoff that could have major repercussions for both sides. The situation has escalated since minicamp, with McLaurin reportedly frustrated over the lack of progress. If no resolution is reached soon, speculation about a trade could become a major storyline, shaking up the offseason landscape and leaving fans and analysts wondering about the future of one of Washington's most reliable offensive weapons, Terry. McLaurin has carved out a reputation as one of the NFL's most consistent and dependable wide receivers, a trait that is increasingly rare in today's fast-moving league. For 5 straight seasons, McLaurin has eclipsed the 1,000-yard mark, demonstrating an uncanny ability to perform at a high level regardless of the quarterbacks throwing to him. His crisp route running and sure hands have made him a nightmare for opposing defenses, especially given his knack for creating separation against some of the best defensive backs in the game. At 29 years old, an age where many receivers begin to decline, McLaurin is still producing like a prime player, tallying 13 touchdowns in 2024 alone. This blend of durability and elite production only strengthens his case for the lucrative contract he desires, but the Commanders must weigh his value against their broader salary cap and roster building strategies. Should the contract dispute with Washington continue to drag on without resolution, the likelihood of a trade scenario involving McLaurin will only grow stronger as training camp progresses. Several potential landing spots have already emerged in the rumor mill, each with its own strategic reasons for pursuing a receiver of McLaurin's caliber. The Las Vegas Raiders, for instance, could use a genuine number 1 receiver to stabilize their passing game, especially after trading away Davante Adams. McLaurin's ability to stretch the field and make contested catches could provide quarterback Geno Smith with the outside threat the Raiders have been missing. Meanwhile, the Los Angeles Chargers are in need of a true X receiver to complement Justin Herbert's dynamic offense and rising slot receiver Ladd McConkey, making them a natural fit for McLaurin's skill set and veteran presence. Beyond the Raiders and Chargers, the Pittsburgh Steelers represent another intriguing potential destination for McLaurin if trade talks become serious. The Steelers have been aggressive in reshaping their roster this offseason, but still lack a clear no. 2 receiver to pair alongside DK Metcalf. Adding McLaurin would bring a proven veteran with steady production, reliable hands, and a professional approach to the receiving corps. His presence could not only help improve the Steelers' passing attack, but also provide leadership in the locker room. Given Pittsburgh's willingness to invest in key offensive pieces, McLaurin could be a valuable addition, especially if the Commanders' contract demands push them toward entertaining offers. When it comes to the potential cost of acquiring Terry McLaurin, the financial and draft pick considerations make him an attractive target for teams looking to upgrade their receiving corps without breaking the bank. With only 1 year left on his current contract, Washington's leverage is somewhat limited as they risk losing McLaurin for nothing in free agency if they hold out too long. This reality might lower the asking price, making a 2nd or 3rd round draft pick a reasonable trade chip to acquire a player of McLaurin's caliber. For teams that view him as a key piece to elevate their offense, paying a mid-round draft pick for a proven consistent receiver could represent a smart investment. The Commanders, meanwhile, face a tough choice between extending him on their terms or capitalizing on trade interest before it's too late. McLaurin's contract dispute also highlights a broader issue within the NFL's evolving financial landscape, where elite receivers often demand top-tier deals and challenge team salary caps. His situation mirrors other recent standoffs between star wideouts and franchises, showcasing the delicate balance teams must strike between rewarding proven talent and maintaining roster flexibility. For Washington, the decision to meet McLaurin's high price tag or let him walk could have ripple effects throughout the organization, influencing how they allocate resources in the draft and free agency. For McLaurin, it's a pivotal moment in his career, securing a contract that reflects his value while continuing to perform at an elite level on the field. The timing of this contract dispute, so close to training camp, adds an extra layer of drama and uncertainty to the Commanders' off-season preparations. Training camp is traditionally a time for team building, chemistry, and focus on the upcoming season, but contract issues with a star player can create distractions and tension within the locker room. McLaurin's absence or unhappiness could impact team morale and offensive cohesion, especially given his role as a primary target and playmaker. Coaches and management will need to handle the situation delicately to prevent it from becoming a major disruption, all while continuing to push the rest of the roster to prepare for the challenges ahead. Fans of the Commanders are understandably caught in the middle of this drama, torn between loyalty to one of their favorite players and concern about the team's direction. McLaurin has become a fan favorite through his consistent production and gritty performances, embodying the spirit of Washington's offense for years. Losing him in a trade or watching the contract saga drag on unresolved would be a blow to many supporters who see him as the face of the franchise. However, the realities of the NFL's business side mean that tough decisions often must be made, and sometimes beloved players are moved on to keep a team competitive long term. This situation will likely test the patience and faith of the Commanders' fan base in the coming weeks. If a trade does occur, the ripple effects could be felt across the league, altering the dynamics of multiple teams' receiving core and passing attacks. McLaurin's arrival in a new city would bring an instant upgrade to that team's offense and potentially change their competitive outlook for the upcoming season. For the Commanders, the challenge will be to find suitable replacements either through the draft, free agency, or internal development to fill the void left by their star receiver. The fallout from this contract dispute has the potential to reshape the offseason for Washington, and whichever team ultimately lands McLaurin, making it one of the most closely watched storylines as training camp approaches. Ultimately, Terry, McLaurin's contract dispute with the Washington Commanders underscores the complex intersection of talent, business, and team strategy that defines today's NFL. His impressive track record and consistent production make him worthy of a significant pay raise, yet the Commanders must balance their budget and roster priorities carefully. The coming weeks will reveal whether McLaurin's demands are met or if the situation escalates into a trade scenario that shakes up the league. Either way, fans and analysts will be watching closely, as this drama could have far-reaching implications for McLaurin's career, the Commanders season, and the broader NFL landscape heading into the new campaign. If you're enjoying the coverage, make sure to smash that like button and drop a comment with your thoughts on the Commanders' latest moves. We want to hear from you. There's been some serious buzz swirling around the Washington Commanders camp, and it all centers on something rather explosive coming from their head coach Dan Quinn. Word on the street is that Quinn has dropped hints suggesting there might be players who are contaminating the locker room environment. Now, if you stop and think about what that implies, it's a loaded statement. When a coach accuses members of the team of negatively influencing others, it suggests internal divisions or tension bubbling beneath the surface, something that could unravel even the most promising season. This kind of talk isn't the typical "we need to improve" or "we didn't execute well" comment you hear after a loss. It sounds more like a call-out, or at least a subtle warning that locker room chemistry is far from ideal. Rumors are already swirling that some players might be causing rifts, whether through attitude, behavior, or just not buying into the team's culture. From the outside looking in, it might be easy to dismiss this as just typical sports drama. Teams always have their share of personalities clashing, especially in a high-pressure environment like the NFL. But when a coach like Dan Quinn, known for being a straightforward and no-nonsense leader, throws a phrase like "contaminating the roster" into the mix, it raises eyebrows. What exactly is going on inside the Commanders' locker room? Is it a handful of players who refuse to buy into the team's direction? Could it be younger players disrupting the established order? Or maybe veterans unhappy with their roles? This kind of rumor always leads to speculation about potential locker room factions, power struggles, or even off-field incidents that may not have made headlines yet. It's the kind of story that feeds into the narrative that the Commanders are a team not just struggling on the field, but with unity behind the scenes. Fans and insiders alike have begun to speculate wildly about who these contaminators could be. Some names have surfaced on social media and in conversations among sports journalists, although nothing has been officially confirmed. The guessing game is part of what fuels the fire around this rumor. Is it a star player whose name is disgruntled and openly vocal about his frustrations? Or perhaps a player whose conduct is causing distractions, both during practice and off the field? The idea of a toxic influence inside any NFL team locker room isn't new, but it's rare to hear a coach openly acknowledge it, even if only subtly. It suggests Quinn may be trying to send a message to those players that their behavior won't be tolerated without naming names publicly. This is often a strategic move to maintain some level of privacy while still addressing a serious issue. Another angle that people are buzzing about is whether this situation could lead to actual roster moves or internal disciplinary actions. If the Commanders' coaching staff and management are indeed dealing with players who are undermining the team's chemistry, could that mean trades, benching, or even releases in the near future? It wouldn't be unprecedented for teams to take drastic measures when they feel a player is harming the collective effort, especially if the goal is to rebuild a winning culture. Rumors are already flying that the Commanders might be in talks with their front office about shaking things up, possibly sending a clear signal to the rest of the squad about what kind of conduct is acceptable. That would be a bold move, but in today's NFL, where mental toughness and team unity are crucial, sometimes it's necessary. The timing of this revelation, or rather this insinuation, is also being scrutinized closely. It comes at a point in the season when the Commanders are trying to find their footing and team cohesion is more important than ever. Some insiders suggest that Quinn might be using this moment to galvanize the team, putting subtle pressure on those causing issues to either step up or step aside. Coaches have long used indirect comments to try and correct course without directly embarrassing players in public. However, in this case, the term contamination is so strong that it almost forces the team to respond in some way. Whether through public statements, changes in leadership within the locker room, or a shift in the team's internal dynamics, it's clear something is simmering beneath the surface that could define the rest of their season. Meanwhile, commentators and analysts have jumped on this narrative, dissecting every word from Quinn's recent press conferences for clues. The idea that the Commanders roster might be dealing with contamination has sparked debate over how widespread the issue could be. Is this a localized problem involving just a few individuals, or could it be symptomatic of a larger cultural problem within the franchise? Some suggest that it might stem from a mismatch between the team's veteran core and younger players, or perhaps from the transition under Quinn's leadership style. The NFL is full of strong personalities, but successful teams often rely on harmony and a shared vision. If that's compromised, it can impact everything from on-field performance to locker room morale, and this statement from Quinn might be the first official hint that the Commanders are grappling with such challenges. One of the most intriguing questions now is how the players themselves are reacting to these rumors and Quinn's comments. Insider reports hint that some players are privately frustrated, either because they feel unfairly targeted or because they want the issues to be addressed openly rather than through vague accusations. In professional sports, trust between players and coaching staff is paramount. And when a coach goes public with these kinds of statements, it can create a sense of unease or even backlash. Yet other players may be silently applauding Quinn's honesty, hoping it will serve as a wake-up call and push the entire roster toward better discipline and focus. Either way, the ripple effect of this rumor could lead to some internal meetings, counseling sessions, or even changes in team leadership roles behind the scenes. The media frenzy has also sparked discussions about how this controversy might affect the Commanders' reputation in the league. For a franchise that has been striving to rebuild and regain respect, having the head coach publicly suggest that players are damaging the team's culture could be a setback. Rival teams might see this as a sign of vulnerability and try to exploit it on the field. Additionally, potential free agents or trade targets could hesitate before joining a locker room that appears divided. On the flip side, some argue that Quinn's willingness to call out problems openly, even if vaguely, shows a level of transparency and accountability that could eventually strengthen the team. It's a delicate balance, and how the Commanders handle this situation will likely influence perceptions around the league. At the heart of this swirling rumor is the question of accountability. Who will step up and own the locker room, and who might be pushed out? Leadership in NFL locker rooms is often tested during times of conflict, and the Commanders seem to be at one of those crossroads. Veteran players, team captains, and coaches may have to come together to address these contamination issues head on to prevent further disruption. If this internal battle plays out publicly, it could overshadow the team's on-field efforts and derail their season. But if handled correctly, it could also be the catalyst for a new, more focused chapter. In the franchise's history, this rumor of contamination isn't just about bad behavior. It's a test of character for everyone involved. In the end, whether this talk of contaminating the roster is a strategic move by Dan Quinn to shake things up or a genuine call-out of problematic behavior, it has certainly caught the attention of fans, analysts, and insiders alike. The Commanders now face a crucial period where their response to this internal challenge could define their season and perhaps the legacy of their coach. Will the players rally together and purge the negative influences, or will this internal strife deepen? Only time will tell, but one thing's for sure. The drama inside Washington's locker room is heating up, and the NFL world is watching closely. Thanks for tuning in to District Command Central. Make sure to subscribe and follow us for all the Commanders news you need. Until next time, keep the faith and hail to the Commanders.